What is going on, everyone? I just want to give you a brief update on how the last 2 months have been working at Touch the World. For many of you who don't know, I had left my maintenance job working at a college and am now doing full-time ministry. I'm also heavily involved with my church called Church at Bergen, kind of leading a charge with my other youth leaders to develop and foster more of a youth group at that church. So God has truly called me into a season of teen ministry and even potentially young adult ministry as time goes on. To give you an idea of Touch the World, they're a missions training organization. So if a church youth group is thinking of doing a missions trip, Touch the World values and leans heavily on the importance of missions training. To understand the gospel, to understand their story, to understand culture, communication, understand the different forms of poverty that is not always financial. And so what happens is before their trip for 3 days, they come out to our missions training center in the Poconos, and they just understand in a very immersive fashion what it means to serve, what it means to live a life missionally. That is not just an over there thing, but that it's an everyday thing. And so once they gain that foundation and they go on their trip, they can use that trip as almost a practical understanding of what it means to serve. That the same Holy Spirit that is working in you over there is the same Holy Spirit that is working and wanting to work with you here. That missions is an everyday, everywhere understanding. So with that said, this last summer we had a couple of churches come by, probably at most maybe about 120, 125 students come through our program. They had all gone from different places, such as Oswego, New York, to Lynch, Kentucky, to Costa Rica, to Guatemala, various places around, for these trips around the North American, South American, and Central American areas. We have other locations that are elsewhere internationally, and many other churches also have their own organizations that they partner with, but utilize us for their training. So, it has been quite an enjoyable experience. Not only to the fact that I'm in an environment that is in part what my degree was oriented towards, which is understanding missions and understanding how to serve, but also working with an organization that truly understands my viewpoint on a lot of approaches in regards to missions, especially in regards to short-term missions, because I'd always had a very rocky relationship with short-term missions. But being able to understand the importance of training going into these short-term trips and utilizing them as a platform, utilizing them as a tool and not the destination. Because my experience had always been the short-term trip was the destination. It was a photo shot and just a pin on a wall. But this really brings it to a different dimension. It brings it to a whole different level of understanding that, like I had said before, the same Holy Spirit that is working with you here, the one that is the one that is tapping into you to pray, tapping into you to serve, even on the menial things, is the same Holy Spirit that wants to work with you here. So why is it different? Because the understanding is no matter where you go, there you are. That even if you go internationally, if you're there long enough, it just becomes a normal environment. It just becomes the same place that you were before. So if you're just always going after those experiences in those different places, at some point your passion and your drive will die out. So what is it that is causing that? And some of it is just the lack of understanding, the lack of training, that it is the same Holy Spirit. It is the same essence that's being poured out when you're on an international trip, building a house for someone, handing out food, handing out supplies, doing the menial things or the big things, but that it's the same Holy Spirit. And so our goal is to be able to lead these teens into this process that brings them about to a different place, so when they become adults, they already have this foundation in them. They're not learning it when they're 30. They're learning it when they're 14. So it has been an amazing opportunity to be able to see the growth in some of these kids. This is my first year being full-time staff, but not my first time working with Touch the World during summer trainings. There have been students that I had seen in prior trainings when they were in middle school, and now they're in high school, and seeing the growth, seeing the maturity, seeing them just tap into the Holy Spirit so easily is just encouraging to see the development. And having talked to the youth leaders who have been coming back year after year and just raving about how Touch the World has changed their students, has really been a tool that they've been able to utilize and build off of in discipling their students. So it's been an awesome opportunity to watch that happen, to be a part of it, to be able to see that. So that's one of the many things that I have learned. The other thing that I have learned during these last 2 months is the importance of prayer and dependency on God. A lot of that has come about in the fact that I am still funding for my salary. Touch the World has blessed us with an opportunity that they will pay half our salaries. We only have to raise the other portion. However, the way they do that, to prevent you from being complacent, is every 25% they'll match it. So when you hit 25%, they'll give you theirs. When you hit 50%, they'll give you theirs. 75, and then 100. Right now, I'm at 40%. So I'm 10% shy from getting my portion of the 50% and their portion of the 50%. And let me tell you, it has been so stressful in a lot of ways. Some of it's because I'm a newly married man and I am struggling with the identity of providing for my family, of being the breadwinner of my family. And having these moments where we have to say no to things, such as even our anniversary coming up in September, and we can't start planning what we want to do because right now we can't afford anything. And it's been a very difficult process. However, it has led me to understand the true dependence on God. That yes, I am in need, but my identity still remains the same. That yes, I am in need, but God has still yet provided for me. My car died. The brakes went out on my way to work, and I was carless for a week until one of my supporters talked to their family, and they said, hey, we have a spare car. Do you want to use it? In my mind, that's not how I'd want to be saved. I would like to just have a new car. But being able to borrow someone else's car has saved us a whole world of stress. From being able to drop each other off at work or being able to go hang out with friends, it would have been impossible. It was such a frustrating situation.